Good morning and welcome to Herb Oracle Podcast, botanical divination with herbs, essences, flowers, and trees with your host, Herbal Marie. Let's start the day off pulling some oracle cards and getting a few messages. We can shoot the shiitake in a spiritual way-ish. And if you follow me on Instagram, I'll post a pic of the cards at Herb Oracle. Thanks so much for joining me. Here we go. Hey, what's up? I'm sitting here making myself laugh because I was thinking about how I should say hello to you this morning. And I thought I should maybe do an impression of Daniel Scranton channeling the Arcturians and be like, "Good morning." And then it made me laugh. But don't worry, I'm not going to do that. So anyways, welcome to another week at Ho. I guess I'm pretty excited about this herb of the week. It's plantain. And I was like, yeah, I love plantain. And I thought to myself, I think I did a nerdy podcast about plantain. But when I looked on herbalmarie.blogspot.com, I guess I didn't. It's not there. I guess I did not. So that made me realize that, once I get back in the mood of doing those kind of podcasts, probably not till next year, if we're being honest, over there at Herbal Marie, I have to do plantain. So that also tells me I'm not done with the nerdy podcast, because how could I not do one about plantain? So, oh no, the go-getter in my mind just thought, well, maybe you should do it this week since it'll be fresh on your mind. Ugh, I hate it whenever I talk to myself like my mother. Honey, why don't you just do it now while you're thinking about it? My mom is so motivated, it kills me. All right, so anyways, we have 5 cards. I almost forgot one, and then last night I was like, shouldn't I have like another card? And I almost forgot to put out the herbal tarot one. So that would be cool because it's justice. Did you hang out with me with the angelic herb yesterday? I did a special podcast. Did you tune in? We pulled the justice card yesterday. That's the only reason why I'm asking. That, and for anyone who did listen in, I just want to tell you, and you'll get this, that last night I was reading The Way of Passion by Andrew Harvey, and it's a celebration of Rumi, the mystic poet. Guess what? There was a story within the first couple pages of where I started reading about a lion. So I just wanted to tell you that. Now, if you didn't watch, listen, whatever you do to podcast, do watch me, then you don't know what's going on, and I'm sorry about that. But it might be your call to tune in. It was great yesterday. Okay, so I had to re-listen back to it because it was one of those podcasts where I was talking, and it was like at the end of it, I was like, did that even all make sense? Because I sort of lose sight of myself a little bit and just let it all flow out. So when I was doing the dishes last night, I listened to Herb Oracle, Angelic Herbs, Archangel Ariel on the Bluetooth speaker, which was weird to hear my voice not in headphones. So if I ever usually have to listen back to a podcast, I do it in secret. I don't tell anyone that I listen to this podcast, right? Especially, but I thought, you know what? I don't think I even hardly said anything bad in this one. I could probably play it, and my kids even hear it. And so, yeah, of course I did swear, and I didn't realize that until my son heard it. He was like, "Mom, you really got to tone it down." And then my daughter too, I was like, wow, she came into the kitchen and, there the podcast is playing. I was like, ooh, don't you just love this podcast? Because, that was the joke, because it was mine. I don't even know I think she knew it was mine. And she says, she sounds tired. Yes, honey. The podcast host of Herb Oracle is tired. Does sound tired because she is tired because she has to get up at the butt crack of dawn and get recording before her children wake up, which seems to be earlier and earlier and earlier. Both me getting up and like even now I hear restlessness above me and it's 8 o'clock. So they're getting up and around earlier too. So anyways, that means we got to keep on trucking. So plantain is our 34th herb. I got to keep track because then when I update herbaloracle.blogspot.com and Herbal Marie, I keep a running list of both on both pages of all the herbs of the weeks that we do. So if you're ever looking for any previous ones, or if you just stumbled in here and you're wondering what other ones I did and you don't feel like scrolling back literally over 300 episodes now. So at some point I'm going to be able to say I've given you a year's worth of episodes, one every day. It makes me laugh like sometimes when I think like I'll keep going until like I've done my 666th episode and then I'll quit with that one. All right, so are you ready to plantain with me? Plantain is my one regret this summer. Like when it was growing in the garden and all around in my property in certain areas, I was too much in fear to go harvest it because that was also when the black snake was owning the garden more than me, and I never harvested any. Nope, I never did, and I'm looking. I don't know if I have any from last year. Man, plantain is like one of the herbs that like shame on you if you think you got to order it from somebody else because you should have done and got it yourself. So I definitely could find plantain growing still, like now. Maybe even a fresh batch that like it kind of got frosted. It'll come back a little bit. So I might get a fall harvest just to have some. I love it. I love drinking this tea. It just tastes like a vegetable broth, very wholesome. It's good at getting the gunk out. So a lot of times I make my mucusy son drink it too. So anyways, usually, so funny, I usually harvest the long, narrow leaf for tea, but I actually know a great place to get a ton of the broadleaf. So really, and I don't usually dry that, but I think I could maybe make an exception this year just to get some plantain on the shelf. So my shelves are pretty stocked with the essentials. I have more tinctures in this house than I ever did before. So hopefully that is not an omen of things to come or anything. But I think I just instead of making small bottles, I just went ahead and made large bottles. So I have a whole shelf full of mason jars with the herbs still in it, even though I could probably strain them out anytime. I just am never in a hurry to do that. I just could care less. It does not bother me because then I have to find more mason jars to put this stuff in. All right, so anyways, welcome to Herb Oracle. Plantain is our herb of the week. Let me tell you real quick about the 5 cards. We could start out with our Justice card since I almost forgot about her. We'll see. We have 2 tarot cards and 3 beautiful oracle cards. The tarot cards are Justice and Ace of Water. So, now we did the Justice card over at Herbal Marie for the Herbal Tarot journey. It was card, what is that? 6. I'm still a little rusty on my Roman numerals. I think it was the 6th card, which would be the 7th card because the Fool is 0. But anyways, so if you want to listen just to that podcast, if you're into the card, but I'll still read out all the things from it. Then the Ace of Water, I feel like we just pulled that not too long ago on a Tarot Tuesday Tarot. and it's growing near the river. Yeah, because I remember when we pulled it, because I said I could probably just ride my boat up to the side of the river and harvest that. I don't have a boat, mind you, but I think at the time I had a big crush on a guy that had a boat. But the universe didn't have him come back my way, so I never got a boat ride. Never got my plantain this summer. It's just, I guess you can't do it all. Then we have this sweet little innocent plantain card. And I say that because the little plantain girl who's sitting in the middle of it, kind of indeed like yogic style, meditation style. She's holding some plantain. She's got really bright orange hair, green dress that matches the plantain. The plantain stalks are kind of like the seed stalks are kind of like they look like parentheses rippling out away from her. So she's basically on a plantain lotus. That's what it looks like. And she's got all this beautiful energy like above her. And let me grab this card. Up in the sky, or maybe that's water behind her or above her. I can't tell if it's above or behind. Definitely rippling energy here. There is like an interesting symbol that the artist made with the plantain leaves and stalks. Like at first it seems like it's 3, but it would actually be like a 6-petaled symbol in a golden sun. Anyways, the keywords for this card is innocence, naivete, like naiveness, and unaware. Then we have the Hedge Witch card, nourish, and I love that for plantain because, like I said, when you drink it, it feels like a vegetable broth. It's wholesome, man. It's like if you need something wholesome, there it is. You wouldn't think it, but once you make it in a hot tea, I just love it. I love it. It's kind of a nice dark, dirty brown tea, brown green, if I'm remembering correctly. And you can I think it goes well with violet leaves, red clover, all your backyard herbs. You can actually really make a pretty lovely brew with it all. And then our final card is the herbiary card with the message of rewild. So quite the assortment of things coming in from plantain: justice, innocence, ace of water, nourish, and rewild. It's a pretty decent resume. All right, okay, on that note, I'm gonna drink some tea so I don't sound so tired for you. And let's hang out with plantain. All right. Yeah, I can't believe I didn't do a nerdy podcast for plantain yet at Herbal Marie. That surprises me because plantain is so accessible. So justice. Yeah, we pulled the justice card yesterday with Archangel Ariel. That was quite the podcast. I mean, I'm always so thankful when I can move out of the way and let good energy flow in. And, listening back to my own podcast sometimes, I think, who talks like this? And not in a negative way. I'm just saying, I can't sometimes believe the stuff that I say. So it's definitely, a heads up to myself that, I really do channel in energy that's, beyond me. And so I just want to shout out to all my spirit guides and higher self and angelic helpers and plant spirits. I do not share the spotlight alone. So anytime anyone commends me on any of my podcasts or live streams, but I'm specifically talking about Herbal Marie and Herb Oracle, I cannot take full credit because I have had lots of help. I continue to have lots of help. And yeah, there's as much help as I'm not getting choked up because I'm emotional, but you could when you think about you're never doing anything alone. You really are not. And but sometimes we don't realize it because we're just like, oh, I got a great idea. Honey, that wasn't you that thought of that idea. Like, that none of my great ideas are mine. Like, they're given to me. And yeah, and a lot of times I like sit in the passenger seat and let someone else drive. So I know that's a hard concept to explain, especially for like my nerdy podcast. You're like, well, how does that work, you know? Like, granted, I do a lot of the research, but when it comes time to showtime, I swear to God, I'm sitting in the passenger seat. And yesterday, when I was listening back to Archangel Ariel, her little podcast, I was really like, because I just did it that morning. So then, you know, there I am doing dishes in the late afternoon, evening, and listening to it. And I was like, I just did this? Like, I would never thought that I just said all that. So anyways, it was kind of like a weird, surreal, but cool moment for myself. And then last night, I picked a Rumi card. Before I started reading the Rumi book, I thought I would also pick a card. And was it the Rumi deck? Or was it Listen to Your Guides? Maybe it was a different deck. Yeah, I think it was a different deck. But anyways, I got the message that, like, you know, it was something, it was the Sonia Choquette deck, something about your guides. Anyways, and I pulled the card. I pulled a lot of cards from that deck last night. And it really was a good reminder that it's like, one, don't feel lonely in your quests, or if you do make it to the top and you feel kind of like there's nobody else around you, like, you know, don't feel lonely because you didn't get there alone. And I was like, holy dang, like, you're right, because, you know, I just had listened to the Ariel podcast and I was like, she was here and she was moving my mouth, you know. And not that anyone's moving your mouth when you're channeling, but if you've ever semi-channeled, like, there's people who trance channel, and I am in awe of them because I have too many control issues probably to ever do that. But a lot of times I just let it flow out of me. So it's actually probably more appropriately called flow. If you've ever been in the flow and letting your higher self come through you in such a strong way, and then, like, you have the opportunity to go back and witness, like, what you've said, or, you know, if you're videotaped or something, it's incredible, you know. I mean, maybe you've even had the experience of, like, hanging out with your friends and you, like, are all, like, being philosophical or whatnot. And then, like, just some, like, beautiful wisdom comes out of your mouth and everyone's like, what? I can't believe she just said that. She's incredible, you know. And that was like your higher self, or maybe one of your angelic guides. But yeah, there is a definite way to allow more of your helpers to come through. So whether you demonstrate it or not, it's happening a lot when you just get a brilliant idea, or you have like extra energy some days, you know. So anyways, if you want more help, want more ideas, want more energy, want more assistance, then give your guides permission to do so. Like, I pretty much have given my own personal will up for divine will most of the days. So that's why, like, I'm getting up without an alarm. Today, I'm so excited. I woke up feeling happier, I would say almost happy. And that's good. Like, I'm trying to let my guides tune me and guide me and support me. And yeah, I pulled a lot of oracle cards last night because I did not go to bed with my phone. Again, I'm trying to do that. You know, leave my phone downstairs, and it's a challenge. So I know it's like with any of my addictions or habits, it takes a few weeks to get into it, but at least, like, I'm pulling cards, I'm reading. Yeah, sometimes I've been having to sit with my sadness and my grief because I don't have any digital distractions. And the ego can get loud, and our shadow side shows itself, and it's not easy. And my ears are toning now. It's not easy to do it, but it's worth it. Okay. So I just want to shout out to my guides because thank you. You guides have created a lot of podcasts. I would have never done over 300 podcasts here, over 100 at Herbal Marie. I'm almost up to 1,000 videos on my YouTube channel. I gotta keep an eye on that because I should do something fun or just know about it when I hit 1,000. So I've been guided and motivated beyond my human self for quite a while, but especially the past 2 and 3 years. Yeah, especially. And lately, I've just been like noticing it increase. Yeah, because, okay, I'm going to wrap it up. See, this is how I normally talk, like an idiot, stuttering all around. If you listen to yesterday's podcast, you'll be like, oh my God, she's a friggin' glorious, enlightened genius with all this beautiful information. That wasn't me. It was me, but I had a different fuel in my tank yesterday. Yeah, if left to my own devices, I'm not that impressive. All right. So, let's read about plantain in the spirit of herbs. Now, the herbal ally for plantain is purslane. So if you don't have plantain, purslane is also vibrationally similar to help you create better balance within. Okay, so that's the affirmation right away for plantain. By creating greater balance within, I create more joy in my life. By creating greater balance within, I create more joy in my life. So yeah, I would say like that's my human job, you know, like my guides help me a lot, but what's my job then? You know, to try to do my work that I'm conscious of, get balance so that I can be more joyful, so that I can do more work. Do more work in service to the all. So yeah, it's no secret in my life that I am here to work. I mean, I've understood that since before I understood what work I was supposed to be doing. Like as soon as I became a mother, I knew that like I had to do more. Like it was like as soon as I became a mom, like I felt super responsible, not just for my children, but the earth. So even though I did have a connection to the earth before, it was truly with the birth of my children that like I too rebirthed into a different, or my role, who I was supposed to be. I was really just a spoiled, selfish, self-centered human before I had children. I mean, I worked 3 jobs. I just, you know, made money, and didn't really think about anybody or anything. Like, I don't know. I just was like going. I was just working, you know, and doing whatever the heck I wanted. And, but not like really in a fulfilled way at all. I didn't have like fulfilling interests. You know, I had my boyfriend and all my jobs, and I think I had fun, but like I was pretty probably shallow, and you know, just rolling with it. I didn't really have a whole, like, I didn't even really have like crafts or anything that like fulfilled me, let alone a solid spiritual practice. But it's interesting. It's interesting to think back when you were not awake, if you've had that experience. Like, I've definitely not been awake parts of my life, you know? But there was a longing for a long time until I, you know, from like 15 to like right before I had children. I know like I was always longing for something more, and of course looking for it in a man. But well, I'm off on a tangent. All right, plantain, the genus Plantago, Justice card, Libra. All right. Should I just restart this whole podcast? Justice. So this card, she's like she's emerging out of a dense dark forest. So the Justice lady is awesome. She's wearing this red cape. She's holding a crystal of light in one hand and scales of balance in the other. So she's like coming out of the forest. She's like holding up this crystal ball in her one hand. She's got the scales of balance in the other. There's a sword up on a tree on the one side, symbolizing the unqualified search for truth. So in that red cape that she's wearing represents strength and power. And then underneath she has like a pink gown. Looks kind of orangey to me, but in the book it says pink. Expresses her compassion. So this is not like I am the law kind of justice. This is compassionate justice, ruled by Libra. It represents our internal need for equilibrium. So this lady's faithful to the Divine Mother, preserving us and maintaining our health physically, emotionally, spiritually. So she's a protector of all those things that are important to us. And with her sword, she carves off what is useless and worn out. So the Justice card is awesome. I love it. And I love that we pulled the Justice card yesterday. I mean, and the Pride card, which we're going to manifest more pride this Wednesday. So this whole week already feels really integrated and, in itself. And I love that so much for me and you. So justice is the appreciation and understanding of the laws of nature. And we talked about that yesterday, not feeling like we have to be the ones to enforce justice. Like as spiritual warriors, that's what Ariel wanted to talk about yesterday, us being peaceful spiritual warriors and just knowing that like there is a justice system set up in the universe with the laws of physics, basically metaphysical laws, and justice takes care of itself, without us have to getting personally involved. When we are in harmony with these laws and the laws of nature, we are protected in all ways. That's why last year we went through 105 universal laws. So if you hung out with me like the first 130 podcasts, I can't remember when we started those laws. I'll find out because I'm slowly, ever so freaking slowly uploading the old podcasts in order to my YouTube channel. And I think I'm up to like episode 12, which is kind of like, wow, like uploading episode 12 when we're in the 300s now. It's going to take me forever. But I will figure out eventually what episode we start those laws, and then maybe even put them in the descriptions, which I never really did. Honest to God, I didn't really think anyone was ever going to listen to this podcast. And of course, I thought that of Herbal Marie too. And look what happened there. So anyways, justice teaches us how, through work and action, that we can cultivate health for body, mind, spirit by being discriminating in the choices that we make for ourselves. So if we're ever in disharmony with the laws of nature, then that's when pain and personal discomfort arise in our bodies and our minds. So if your body is like just not doing well and your mind is not doing well, it really does benefit you to get in harmony with nature and also the laws of the universe and clean up your thinking. So that was definitely a bonus from studying all those laws last year. Some of them were weird. Remember, if you're a long time listener, some of them, like, we read them and we're like, okay, whatever, and then we didn't really think much about them because they were like so far-fetched. But some of them were like basic common sense. It was an interesting mix. What else can I say? This justice lady, she wants to take us toward our innermost joy. So it's not like she just wants us to follow the law. She really does want to take us towards joy, our innermost joy. And with that sword, carve away what is useless and worn out. So how does plantain help then? Well, plantain is the herb of adjustment. And just as plantain can remove irritations such as splinters from the body, right? I told you I like to use it to help remove the gunk, internal gunk. So professional. Internal gunk. Okay, so spiritually, it can help one to identify and clear out inner sources of irritation. And if you have congested thoughts, or you're just sort of rigid and fixed in your ways, plantain spiritually can help you loosen up and gain greater clarity. So that's cool. Through this type of adjustment and rebalancing, a new life can be created. So yeah, sometimes we have to break our own limiting belief systems. And so like I know that's like some of the things I've been contemplating the past couple nights when I'm up there being forced to sit with myself, which I think is good. I see why we're encouraged to do it. You know, like I do get it. But it really shows you where, you know, your limiting beliefs are. All right, so medicinally, for my na-na-na-na-na-na-nas, for my nerdies, you can take plantain internally it'll be soothing, it will be cooling. So if you have internal inflammation, hot inflammation, it'll cool that down. If you have phlegm, it will help expel phlegm and relieves coughing. If you hear pounding in the background, that's my rabbits. It helps to, the 5 rabbits I have that live in my basement. It helps to restore rhythmic breathing. Yeah, the rabbits get loud sometimes because you know what the one's doing? She's rearranging her litter box, like in her cage. She rearranges her house all the time. And so she just bangs the plastic up against the wall. All right, so anyways, my prisoners are being loud down there. It helps to restore rhythmic breathing. Plantain is the supreme cleanser and giver of life. It can be used externally for insect bites. That's probably how you most know it. Burns, bruises, and wounds. So yeah, like a lot of people know that like if you get a bee sting, you chew up a plantain leaf, make a spit poultice, and slap it on there. It really does instantly make it feel so much better. Oh my gosh. So you can take this like as a tincture, as a tea. If you want to take a little tincture just in water and then say the affirmation that we started off with, by creating greater balance within, I create more joy in my life. So you can symbolically say that as you take in the plantain and, you know, let it loosen you up mentally, emotionally. Let it clear you out a little bit. Let it bring in greater clarity. You could also, of course, carry some plantain with you or a leaf in your pocket that, like, every time that you put your hand in there and you feel it, you're like, oh yeah, I remember, I am adjusting my balance. I'm adjusting myself within. I'm creating greater balance so I can have more joy. I'm clearing out the gunk so that I can have more joy in my life. So if you do have literal gunk, though, you got to look into plantain because it's good for inflammation. It can be used as a diuretic. It purifies your blood. You can literally just simmer 1 teaspoon in a cup of boiling water for 10 to 15 minutes. I would double that. If I'm going to dirty a pot, I'm going to double that. Do 2 cups and 2 teaspoons. But this says 1 cup can be taken 3 or more times daily as needed. I would just make a whole pot, let's be honest. I'm making a whole pot and making everybody drink a little bit. Just to get some, it has good vitamins in it. It cleans your blood. It's a good tea, you guys. Now, if you want to use it externally, you can make a poultice. You could combine plantain leaves with comfrey leaves. That would be good. If you want a catalyst in there, this book suggests adding a small amount of cayenne pepper and putting that on your skin. Be cautious with the pepper, though. My mom has such a sensitivity to cayenne pepper. If it gets on her skin, she gets hives. Everyone's different. So disclaim out the wazoo. Know yourself and always do your own research. Now, the herbs are steamed or steeped in boiling water. You can steam or steep them in boiling water for about 15 minutes. And then you wrap these cooked leaves in a cloth. And then you can apply that directly to the injury, wound, or splinter. So you could do like a fresh poultice, or you could cook the herbs down and make a warm poultice. And yes, the classic spit poultice is also always welcomed. And you just chew up the leaf and apply it to the wound. Yeah, it really does. Instant comfort. Now, just to go over the keywords of this card, because we're starting out with justice because Ariel brought it in yesterday, and I just feel like it's just on the table as a topic. So the justice card wants us to know all about having better inner balance, or maybe an indication to us that we need better inner balance. I can always have better inner balance, absolutely, because I see how I wobble, like this week we're leading up to a full moon. I need to start bleeding. I say that every month now for my menstrual cycle. Like, I cannot wait to bleed. I'm looking like I'm in that day where I'm like, I hope I bleed today. So I know that I can always use better inner balance, emotional balance, mental balance. Plantain would be a good herb for me this week because, people are irritating me a little bit, just a little bit. But, I don't really want to ever be irritated. And if I do feel myself, there's my teeth whistling again. If I do feel myself getting irritated, the herbs are there for us. The herbs are there for us. Now, also, Plantain and Justice say, hey, it's time for work and action. Balancing your health habits. You need to discriminate as to what is best for yourself. You need to create your own joy. You need to take responsibility for your actions and your relationships. So this is the justice card. So it says, look at another side of an issue. Look at the pros, look at the cons. Look at things fairly. And then, yes, I love that sword. Cut away unnecessary baggage. So that gets us started. And the long way about to our herb of the week, plantain. But I just felt like I wanted to start with her so much because, as I look at these 5 cards, she's kind of leading the way here. She's leading the way so much. And she's holding up that crystal ball, but it's like a guiding light. It really is. So in the spirit of crystal balls, I am then drawn to our next card that has a human on it. There's only 2 cards that have people on it, and then the other 3 are just the plant. plantain. There is like a crystal sun bulb floating above our little plantain fairy girl. And yeah, a guiding light. And the other thing, was that just yesterday about, we were talking about rippling out energy? Was that yesterday too? So this card reminds me of that. And, everything you put out makes such an impact. Everything. So if you can be a balanced energy and a kind energy and a fair energy and a compassionate energy, think about what energy you're adding to your life, and then it rippling outward away from your life into other people's lives. Like everything we do affects each other. And we probably don't realize how much that is true. But anyway, so I love the ripples, I love the sun, I love the crystal balls, I love the plantain. I love it all. I do. I love plantain. I have such respect for this plant. Appreciation. So I should really, before I call it quits that I didn't harvest any, I should still be open to going to find some. Even if it's rougher looking, it's better than nothing. And you know what's really sad for me? I have seeds in my little seed box that my friend bought me, and she bought me purple perversion plantain seeds, like it's purple leaves, and I never grew any this year. She bought me the seeds for Christmas or my birthday, I don't know, or just for no fucking reason. She just was being nice and bought me the seeds, and I never planted them anywhere because my life was just in such disarray. My life has been like in disarray in a lot of ways for quite a while now. So maybe that's why I'm feeling so welcoming to the Justice card and the plantain. I'm just really feeling like with this full moon coming up, like enough is enough. Okay, I'm really completing this now. Like really done. Like for the love of God, I was so emotionally distraught between this and that, and then throwing a black snake, and I never planted any of those plantain seeds or even had it in enough to chuck them in the dirt somewhere. Like I did nothing. I literally did nothing cool with my garden space this year except watch it all fall down. I watched all the structures crumble. And so now it's like it does give me an opportunity to restart again next year. But yeah, it really got the short end of the stick. All right, so there's lots of different types of plantain. Plantago major, Plantago rugelii, Plantago lanceolata, lawn. She just has lawn. So there's probably lots of different plantains. Like I said, there's like a variated one. There's a purple one. And the purple one has I think more ruffly leaves. So I really did want to try it, but there is always next year. All right, it's one of the most common plants. We are in the Plant Spirit Oracle guidebook by Dana O'Driscoll. She's saying they grow, it's native to North America, but it's like everywhere. They used to call it white man's foot because everywhere that white settlers colonized North America, they would bring plantain with them, almost like it followed in their footsteps. But they did it because it was incredibly healing. So they would bring it with them on purpose. It's easy to cultivate. It'll grow anywhere. You probably definitely know what plantain is. If not, look it up and you'll be like, holy shit, like I see that stuff everywhere. Yep, that's plantain. Lawns, cracks in sidewalks, like everywhere. And you can even find it in the edges of forest and thickets and in the grass. It will take over the grass. I know that makes my grass lovers sad. People don't appreciate it because they just want their they're plain old grass. However, if they would just take a little time to learn all the amazing things that it could do, you know, they would appreciate it more. You can make a backyard healing salve, you know, with plantain and other herbs like chickweed, ground ivy, self-heal or heal all, violet leaves, all that good stuff, comfrey that's growing in your backyard. You can make a salve with it. And she's got a great recipe in here. You basically chop up everything, let it wilt overnight, add it to a jar, then you add your oil, and you let it sit in the sun for a week, if you want to do it that way. You strain it all out, you heat up that oil, and then you basically just add some beeswax to it. So that's how you make a salve in a nutshell. And then you can put it on cuts, scrapes, bee stings, burns, all that good stuff. I like to make a vinegar with plantain too. If like you have a summer that's like mosquitoes are crazy and you get a lot of bug bites, a plantain vinegar is very soothing too for anything itchy. Now this card is about innocence, being naive and unaware, which isn't a bad thing. Like, she is a sweet little girl, like, in this card. Like, you know, like, don't you sometimes just want to be able to go back to being 3 years old again, you know? Plantain represents innocence in all forms. So this could be like if you're just innocent, like meaning not guilty, or it could represent innocent people like children who are not yet broken or damaged. So sometimes if you pull this card, it's just saying innocence is at play, or maybe a reminder to get back to your innocence. It could also be talking about a person who is naive from lack of experience, or just because they're not paying attention, they're unaware. And you know, just some interesting topics though for an oracle card, because if you're not aware of something, it's sometimes good to be aware of it. I mean, yes, sometimes ignorance is bliss, I guess, but sometimes it's in your best interest to know what's what. So it's a cool oracle card. I love the artwork of Dana's. And she goes on to talk about herbalism a little bit. Plantain is a premier mucus membrane plant. It's very mild yet effective as a mild demulcent, which means that it wets the tissues. Like right now, my throat would love some plantain. I'll settle for this tea that I have. I started my day off with lemon water because I was like, I should use up these lemons. And sometimes that just like screws up my throat when I drink lemon water first thing. But anyways, so it's a mild demulcent and a mild astringent. So it wets the tissues, and then it also helps tone the tissues. Yes, you can use it to draw out splinters, infections, and debris from a dirty wound, or even infection in the gums and teeth. So plantain tea is like a good one to swish around your mouth before you swallow it. Or if you really did have an infection in your gums, swish around for like as long, like 10 minutes, 5-10 minutes, and spit it out, you know, swish it all around, gargle, help. It really does. It's very pulling, very drawing. So fresh plantain is the best for splinters and infections on your skin. If you can use a fresh plantain poultice, that is best. They used to use it for poisonous snake bites and spider bites for drawing out the toxins. I mean, you can still use it for that. When my neighbor, I think she got bit by a brown recluse spider, that's the one thing I suggest to her. I ground up a ton of plantain. That's probably why I didn't dry any, because I went and harvested it the one day and gave it all away. so she could put it on her skin to pull out toxins. It can be used with animals. If your animals have any skin issues, you can use it for animals. Even on chickens, she said. It's just really effective for healing. And it's very effective for inflamed tonsils and bleeding gums. So just keep it in the mouth and chew it. So if you do have a lot of gum issues and you got fresh plantain, yeah, chew it. That would probably be a good, like if you had like a mouth ulcer, a good plant to just chew and keep in like some tobacco, like a tobacco chew. Just keep it in your mouth, or just constantly be chewing it. Let's do it. All right, so plantain's feeling super nerdy, isn't it? I mean, it's balancing. It's just like, get it together, get the gunk out, get rebalanced, get to work. I love it. So yeah, I love the innocent card too then, because that brings a new element into the Oracle of Plantain. So while we are kind of feeling nerdy though, let's do the Hedge Witch botanical guide, because she might have a few other things to add to plantain. Here's some nicknames that plantain may have been called. Hen plant, lamb's foot, roadweed, round leaf. Oh, there's round leaf plantain, broadleaf plantain, common plantain, wayside plantain. Some people call it waybread, and some people call it snake root. So very interesting. It is definitely one of the most abundant and widely distributed plants in the world, right? I think it's probably everywhere at this point. And yeah, because everyone can use it pretty much. And it's good for wounds and stings and sores. This could help prevent infection, like to get the poison out, to get the infection out, to get this splinter out. It is astringent, and you can make a tea. Now this tea would also be good for treating diarrhea and soothing ulcers and gastric distress. So what it does externally, it's also very helpful internally. It's naturally antibacterial, anti-inflammatory, so it's good for skin problems and itching and things that are causing you pain on your skin. So you could literally just wash your skin with the tea. You could put the tea on bug weights. You could wash your face with the tea if you're having trouble with acne and stuff. I think it's just so good for everywhere. She says it could also help with poison oak or sumac, and definitely as a poultice to treat snake bites. It is also edible and nutritious. It has calcium, high in calcium, then also vitamins A, C, and K. So in the spring, like when the leaves are teeny tiny, those are good salad leaves. You could chop them up skinny, but you can also boil the leaves, steam them, put them in your stew. If you're making a vegetable broth and you're just using wild edibles, you definitely want to utilize plantain. You could treat them like spinach, she says, saute them with a little bit of garlic and olive oil, a squeeze of lemon. You could make a pesto with the young leaves. And yeah, you could just eat them if you were in the wild and starving. You could just eat them. Now the seeds on the seed stick, you could eat those too. She says they're good roasted, and you could like roast them and then like just add them as like a crunchy topping on a salad or to dishes. So truly, we could utilize plantain in the kitchen much more than we do. It's just everywhere. So she says a lot of the same stuff as everybody else. But then she goes on to talk about, and there's a snake wrapped up in the plantain. Oh my God. Me and my snakes, my gosh. All right, so how can I read this without looking at that picture? I mean, it's cool. It's a cool picture. got to make our peace with our things, you know. But the oracle property on this card is nourish. And she says it's inspired not just by the gift of nourishment that the plant offers us, but just of its sheer availability. Like it's everywhere. Often in life, the things we need are right in front of us if we are willing to see and accept them. So I have a friend, Mama Burkett. She is definitely like a believer, like whatever randomly starts growing in your yard, you need it. Like this year, goldenrod is growing right by my back steps for the first time, you know, so it's like, she's like, you need it. So notice the things that are right in front of you. And, you know, they might just be what you need. So be willing to see them and accept them. In turn, it is in our power to offer support, time, and resources to those around us, even when we feel uncertain or insecure. So Plantain does come with a message like, you know, utilize the things that are in your life and then also be that resource for other people as well. So she too connects Plantain with the Judgment card. I thought she was saying the Justice card. She connects it with the Judgment card. And because she relates Plantain a lot like the Justice card. Is Justice and Judgment the same card in the tarot? I think it might be. Maybe that's why I'm confused. Like sometimes it says Justice and sometimes it says Judgment. Or are they two different cards? Hold on. See, you have normal Sadie today, so I'm so sorry about that. Is Judgment? No, Judgment's its own card. Yeah, there's Justice, and then I think there's also Judgment later on, the Golden Seal card. Okay, all right. Sorry, you guys. You just get plain Sadie today. Back to Plantain. She connects it to the Judgment card because she relates it to service, balance, and the give and take of the universe, which is very freaking similar to the Justice card. So anyways, she also says, open your mind to what is immediately around you. Stop to consider what you have to offer to the world and how you can nourish others. So that is such a good message because it's like, as soon as you're nourished, it doesn't stop there. Then you need to nourish someone else. And Plantain really does inspire us to take care of each other, you know, because like, just to go back to the example of my neighbor with the spider bite, you know, why would I let her suffer if I know of something that could help her? So Plantain truly is one of the herbs that inspires us to easily and to share its medicine, you know, because it's everywhere, it's free. You can show people what it is and they'll pretty much always remember what it is and recognize it. And it's where, like, anytime anyone gets hurt, you almost can like walk around in a circle wherever you're standing and find some Plantain. I mean, that might not be true in the city, but there's Plantain growing somewhere in the city. I know. I'm sure there is. But around here where we have grass and greenery, there's Plantain everywhere. And it just makes it so easy to tell people about it, to share and nourish them as well. So as the plants take care of us, let's help other people connect with the plants so that the plants can take care of them too. All right. Well, thanks for hanging out with me today. We still have 2 cards left, but I just want to say, like, let's just declare today as like National Plantain Appreciation Day. Yep, there we go. September 28th, National Plantain Appreciation Day. Yeah, if like somebody put me in charge of things, that's the kind of days we would have. Like, okay, oh my God, it's September 28th again. I just felt like we had National Plantain Appreciation Day yesterday. Here it is again. All right, moving on. Oh, so it's definitely a Monday in my world. Ace of Water. Let's go to the Herb Crafters Tarot. I'm going to go pick up my groceries this afternoon, do some homeschool lessons, do some Herb Nerd Word podcasts again. Keep that going. I got a lot lined up for me today. Spirit has me hopping, and I do appreciate it because like if I was just left to my own devices today, like I see this storm cloud maybe rolling in. Is it gonna rain? It looks gloomy. Where'd the sunshine go? You know, I love having lots of projects and meaningful work and things, you know, to do for myself and others. I really appreciate it. Okay, so we're going to do the Ace of Water real quick because Plantain wants to remind us of a few other things that are really important. Yes, nourish yourself and others. You know, pull out the toxins in your life. And also, Plantain with the Ace of Water wants to remind us to follow our hearts. So, I mean, Plantain has all these really interesting messages. Because it's such a versatile plant, it can really be wholesome on all these levels. So follow your heart, trust your instincts and intuition. And also, how sweet is this? Your capacity for love is limitless. So the Ace of Water, Plantain. So yeah, it is in this picture. We're on a river. It's the height of summer. The gently flowing river is lined with lush vegetation and probably snakes. At the edge of the bank, there is a healthy plantain plant spreading its long green leaves around in the ground in all directions. So yeah, if given the space, it can get very big. And if you look very closely on the plantain flower of the seed head, if you look closely, there are tiny, tiny white flower petals that form the shape of a halo around each stalk. So in the picture, there are bees drinking water from the riverbed. The air is cool with a breeze. So this is what Plantain has to say through the Ace of Water now. New experiences can cause a wellspring of feelings. Open your heart to spiritual guidance. Take a fresh look at an ancient calling of soul. Plantain is a prolific yet powerful medicine that is easily missed. To embody the love you desire, you may need to see it in a new light. Now, mixed with a little bit of water, this unassuming weed gently heals wounds from bites and stings. Likewise, in your life, a simple, compassionate approach to a surge of emotions can have the most meaning. So let's not take things for granted. Let's not take plantain for granted. Let's not take compassion for granted. Simplicity. I mean, yeah, you can get pretty complicated in your herbalism journey. However, let's not forget like simple things like plantain that can be so helpful in our herbalism and in our hearts too. Like just simply caring and being open and compassionate can have so much meaning in your life. Now, if you've ever ripped a plantain leaf, you'll see tiny little strings, like it's very stringy, especially when the plant gets a little bit older, the leaves get a little more mature. Small strings form a rib-like structure within the leaves that give it strength. Nourish your emotions and trust your feelings. The threads of joy point the way to wisdom. So again, nourish yourself, nourish your joy. nourish your emotions, and trust your feelings. You know, I know we got that card with the plantain that's like that innocent, unaware, naive. Well, when you haven't been so affected by the world or tainted or broken by the world, darkened by the world, that childlike innocence, you know, what a beautiful space to be able to trust your own feelings and listen to your intuition and be connected with your heart. So, I mean, it's not an insult if someone calls you naive and unaware of the world and its issues, you know. I guess I'm saying that because, like, I know I might come off like that to some people. Like, oh, she doesn't watch the news. She doesn't watch movies. She doesn't know what the fuck's going on in the world. Yeah, and I'm probably happier for it. You know, it's not like I turn a blind eye if it's right in front of me, or like, I'm aware of the problems. Trust me. I'm aware of pretty much everything bad. But, you know, I choose to send it love and compassion and not let myself get overly sucked into darkness, you know, if I can. So anyways, I just feel like, you know, plantain, with its medicinal and spiritual uses of getting the gunk out, a lot of times you have to do that to your psyche as well. Like, is this really serving me to have it in my mind, in my experience? Or should I use that sword that's by the Lady of Justice and carve away what does not serve me anymore? So how can you craft with plantain and the Ace of Water? You could seek plantain out in nature. Oh, the plantain walk. I forgot. This is fun. You let it lead you on your walk. So you just literally look for plantain and be like, oh, here's some. We're going this way. Oh, there's plantain. Now we're going this way. You just take a crazy walk, which is fun because our last card has a map on it. There's a map and a hot air balloon. But it's like, if you just let the plantain guide you, if you're like not in a hurry, and even if it's just like an open field, this is something fun to do with the kids. Like, we have a grassy place where we can walk that's huge down in this one spot, and there's so much plantain. Like, just let the plantain be the dotted line on your treasure map, and just for fun be like, okay kids, we can only walk where the plantain grows. And this is a mowed area, so it's like the plantain's it gets mowed every week, but it still continues to grow, so it's okay for us to like walk on it and stuff, because it's not the kind you would harvest. But just let it lead you all over the place and see where you end up. It might be kind of just a funny, silly thing to do with the kids or yourself. You don't need to have kids to be silly. You could make plantain ice cubes now, if you feel like maybe you want some on hand later on, or just if somebody gets stung. The ice and the plantain will be double relieving, soothing to the pain. You can also, if you're just sitting out in the grass and you have some plantain flower stems, you could shape them into hearts and then leave them as gratitude offerings in nature. So really sweet things you can do with our herb of the week, plantain. Dang, so I'm looking out the window. It's darker now than it was when I woke up this morning. So I don't know if it wants to rain. We need it to rain. The grass has been crunchy in my yard again. So bring it, I guess. It is a reminder though that, like, if I'm going to continue to do a Walmart pickup for my groceries, because that really is easy for me where I live, I'm going to have to, like, as we get into fall and winter, I'll have to schedule my pickups around the weather forecast. I didn't even think about it today because it's just been so gorgeous. I just assumed today was going to be gorgeous too. All right, so thanks again for hanging out with me in plantain. Our last card is super cute. Super cute. From the Illustrated Herbiary by Maya Toll. What a great book. Now remember how we talked about how they called it white man's foot because it just seemed to go wherever the travelers went in North America. Plantain's traveling now in a hot air balloon. There's literally a plantain plant in an orange hot air balloon, and there's a map underneath. And so it's like an old-fashioned looking scroll map, and the word at the top is rewild. Rewild. And Maya has a great story here in her book. She says if you let her, Plantain will share stories of wagon trains and ocean crossings and Alexander's shenanigans in Egypt. So if you let her, Plantain will take you way back and tell you all types of tales and experiences and adventures. And if you give her a chance, she'll make a traveler out of you too, drawing you gently out of your comfort zone, moving you from safe to the edge of the wild, pushing the boundaries of civilized behavior and laughing at your scruples. So talk about a drawing out, a pulling out. How can Plantain help you pull out of your personality, not just the toxic, nasty gunk, but what about pulling you out into a more adventurous role, into more of your wild self? So yeah, it might start just a small little ways. Plantain might offer a leaf to use for a sting or an itch, right? She'll call you, you'll connect with her, you'll make a spit poultice, right? She'll get you to connect with her, and then you'll think, oh, maybe I'll try the tea. And then you try the tea, and then you're like, you know what, maybe I'll try this, maybe I'll make a salve. I mean, once you get, I don't want to say hooked on Plantain, it's nothing to become addicted to, but like once you get just full of appreciation for her, you'll be connected to her, and then that's when she'll really work her magic on you, drawing you out. So in this book, Maya has a ritual and a reflection for us to end with. The ritual is called Remember the Basics, and the reflection is drawing out. So that really does encapsulate a lot of the things that we talked about here today on our National Plantain Appreciation Day, September 28th. Let's make it happen, y'all. But yeah, remember the basics. Plantain is basic and easily overlooked. Like I just assumed I did a podcast at Herbal Marie, and I guess I didn't. Like I can't believe it. Like I overlooked it. But that is Plantain. It is so overlooked, underappreciated, but it's so helpful. It does not hold it against us, ever. But it's just always there. So remember the basics. Remember when you were a kid and you lie on the ground and you just feel the grass tickle your back and the sun on your face. Remember when rolling log-like down a hill. Remember when you did that as a kid? Yeah, that was the perfect thing to do any chance you could get. I did that all the time. Like if there was even a little bank, like maybe like anywhere, me and my sister would roll down it like logs, like a log race. I'm pretty sure we always tried to race each other to go as fast as we could. What the heck? If I did that now, I would probably feel it for like an entire week. How did we get so rigid? Ugh. Plantain doesn't ask you to step away from your true self into some unknown version of you. What she asks instead is that you dust off the unruly and slightly wild but deeply connected side of yourself that gets pushed into the background when you're too busy being an adult. So it's not like she wants you to be anything other than what you are or have been or deep down inside you are. She just wants to pull out, to draw out your childlike wonder and your joy in the basics. So it's not like you have to like take on a pioneer personality if that's not you. But like, let's think about who you were as a child and who you were when you were more lighthearted and just like got excited about rolling in the grass. I'm sorry if you didn't have that experience. Like, if you were one of those kids that didn't have that experience, that sucks. But I totally have many visual memories of what it looks like to be tumbling down a hill on my own accord because I wanted to. I actually can see grass moving fast, like as I run as fast as I can as a kid, not looking where I'm running, but just running to run. And I can see the ground moving. So I remember being a very active child, and lots of grass, lots and lots of grass. So anyways, this is an invitation, y'all, to lay in the grass, lay on the ground just for a little bit today and let the earth support you. Feel the sun on your face. Sense the clouds above you. Sense them chasing shadows across your closed eyelids, right? Just lay there and be there and breathe there and ground there and remember the joy and simplicity. This is a place to which you can always return. So anytime you need to be nourished by the earth, return to innocence, just lay on the ground, man, or find a little bank of grass and roll down it. Yeah, you'll look crazy, but who cares? At this point, who cares? Ugh. Anyways, draw out that childlike innocence and naiveness that could actually really serve you to just reconnecting with that joy in the basics, in the simplicity. Let that kind of energy balance you and purify you and nourish you. So let's finish with the reflection of drawing out. So if we put plantain on our skin, it draws out poisons, it draws out infection. If we drink the tea, it draws out mucus. You know, it's good for all our mucous membranes. It's toning, it's balancing, it adjusts us. And it draws out what we no longer need. So that's its special magic, is pulling out what's stuck. So physically and emotionally, she can do this for you. She'll draw out feelings in much the same way that she helps remove splinters and insect stingers and the itchies, right? She will pull out your itchy feelings, okay? So if you were to sit down with plantain and let her cradle your soul, what would happen? If you could be like this little girl that's sitting on her plantain lotus, okay, or get into this hot air balloon that's filled with the plantain, you and plantain, she's holding you, she's cradling you. You're up in the air with her. Just get in the hot air balloon. Float away, okay? So it's just you and plantain. And as I'm saying this, the sun's coming back out. What shards would she pluck from your heart? If you had an afternoon with the spirit of plantain, plant consciousness, you and plantain in a hot air balloon, holding you, soaring you. She's like, listen, honey, this is your time to draw this out. Nobody else is around but us. And you're like, all right, I'm going to let you in because I know you're going to draw out these things in me that are like poison. What shards would she pluck from your heart that have been stuck there forever? What poison would she draw from your spirit? What pain or discomfort would she dig out from your body? So just contemplate and visualize and think honestly to yourself. Just be honest with you. Just you. You don't have to be honest with anybody else. Just be honest with yourself. What's in there that's either sharp or poisonous or painful or just discomfort? She wants to make me cry. She's like, let's see if we can get her to cry in the podcast. But I've already been letting all this stuff be pulled from my heart the last few nights. So I feel like this is the perfect herb to hold me all week and continue to do this work. And be willing to let plantain draw this suffering out. So are you willing to let plantain draw this suffering from you? Are you willing to let go of the cuts and the hurts and the feelings that make your body discomfort, that hurt your heart, that you just have a dagger in your heart and you just think that it's always going to be there? But she's like, well, I can actually help draw it out. Will you let her? And if not, why? And if not, why? So Thich Nhat Hanh will end us with this quote. People have a hard time letting go of their suffering. Out of a fear of the unknown, they prefer suffering that is familiar. Yeah, so pull out pain with plantain. You guys, don't just hold on to your sad, painful, terrible stories and experiences. Don't hold that in your emotional body just because it's familiar. If you're ready, the help is here. Justice is here. Plantain is here. Nourish is here. Ace of Water is here. Innocence is here. Rewilding is here. If you are ready to be purified, get the junk out and step into more of who you truly are, which is a joyous, balanced being, then definitely utilize and call on our incredible, wonderful, I appreciate you, herb of the week, plantain. This affirmation minute is brought to you by our super available herb of the week, plantain. And I thank you so much for being here with me. I am willing to release suffering. I appreciate the laws of nature. I nourish myself and others with a compassionate heart. I adjust my energy into a more balanced state. I am a joyful being. I trust my instincts and intuition. I am willing to release suffering. I appreciate the laws of nature. I nourish myself and others with a compassionate heart. I adjust my energy into a more balanced state. I am a joyful being. I trust my instincts and intuition. And so it is.